Hello viewers, in this video I will try to explain an essay written by Indian American author Gauri Viswanathan. She is also an academician and she is also a director in the University of Columbia. If I'm not wrong, please verify it. So the title of the essay is The Beginnings of English Literary Study in British India. Through this work, the writer has tried to depict Indian how Indian people uh, got to know about English language, English literature, and how it spread in all over India, and how it had impacted India as a nation. Okay, so let's try to read it and try to decipher, deconstruct what the author is trying to say. So the author says, this paper is part of a larger inquiry into the construction of English literary education as a cultural ideal in British India. So the writer is saying that this paper that she has written, it is a part of a larger inquiry into the construction of English literary education as a cultural ideal in British India. And British parliamentary documents have provided compelling evidence for the central thesis of the investigation, that humanistic functions traditionally associated with the study of literature, for example, the shaping of character or the development of the aesthetic sense or the disciplines of ethical thinking, are also essential to the process of sociopolitical control. My argument is that literary study gained enormous cultural strength through its development in a period of territorial expansion and conquest, and that the subsequent institutionalization of the discipline in England itself took on a shape and an ideological content developed in the colonial context. So through this passage, the writer is trying to say that how British or how colonial power British had used English as a political tool to dominate, to subjugate, and to exploit Indian mass or Indian people. She says that the shaping of character or the development of the aesthetic sense or the disciplines of ethical thinking, these are essential to the process of socio-political control, and this thing was done by British. And she says that her argument is that literary study, it gained enormous cultural strength through its development in a period of territorial expansion and conquest, and that the subsequent institutionalization of the discipline in England itself took on a shape and an ideological content developed in the colonial context. So she's trying to say how after the conquest of various colony by the British or by the Britishers, they had tried to institutionalize English as their language. They imposed English language in the native colonial land. And later, that English language has shaped the mindset, the perspective, and the plight of that particular nation, including India. Okay. In what follows, I propose to outline the preliminary stages of the historical process by which literature was made serviceable to British political interests. So here she is saying that, according to her, literature, English literature, it was made serviceable to British political interest. Means English colonial power, they used English literature as their tool for their political interest, for their political benefit. A process, I may add, that is replete with numerous ironies, contradictions, and anomalies. I have titled my essay The Beginnings of English rather than say the rise of English or the growth of English, to emphasize two things. First, my interest is in seeking out the historical moment at which English literature as a subject for study made its appearance in India.